All right, and we are live for the Cricket Crafting Adventure YouTube channel with Chelly Ontis today. Let's see if we got anybody here yet. Oh, we got Linda Troyer. She's here. Bertha, Christine. Oh, Christine, I'm wearing your earrings. These are my squirrel earrings. I love them.
Cute.
Let's see. We've got Kathy, Susan, Ohio and South Carolina, and then Cheryl from Florida is for here. So yeah, pretty exciting to get started here.
Yes.
Chelly, where are you at? I'm in Minnesota.
I'm in North Dakota.
Okay.
So we're neighbors. We're like friends. Cheers.
We are. Yeah. So let's see. So it's probably about the same temperatures there right now.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of nice right now, I think. It's a little like cooler than it has been. Oh, Chris says, welcome, Chelly. Yes, welcome, Chelly.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I'm going to introduce Chelly for just a second. So this is Chelly Ontis, and she is of We Can Make This, or Make That. We Can Make That. I'm a little nervous because so I'm tripping a little.
Oh, no, we're just having coffee. It's good.
Okay, so We Can Make That. And let's see, how long have you had your business?
I have been freelance like marketing and graphic design since 97. And then I started the blog as kind of a side hustle in 2016. I saw this pin on Pinterest that said, hey, you can make $5,000 a month if you start a crafting blog. And I was like, well, that was fun.
That would be fun. And so easy, right?
Right. It's not quite as easy as that pin made me believe, but I taught myself WordPress. I opened the blog in 2017, and then here we are.
Okay, so you were like doing the side hustle and the stay-at-home thing before it was actually like a thing. Because like now it's like, a thing.
Now it's cool. But yeah, back when I first started, people would be like, oh, what do you do for your, where do you work? And I'm like, I'm self-employed. And they'd all be like, oh, really? Like I told them my puppy just died. They were all like, head cock and this.
Like you couldn't get a real job.
No, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And now you tell people you're self-employed and they're all like, tell me more. Like,
yeah, like, can I do it too, right? Because like so many people are doing it. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of that started to turn around with Etsy too. Like, because that's how I started was like, okay, yeah, all I have to do is type in a username and, start putting some pictures up and some pricing. And that's, I thought that's all it took. So, and back then, honestly, that's kind of all it did take.
Right. That is how it took. And the first time I started my business page, on that same level, I started my Facebook business page and I was like, I'm going to run an ad for $1 a day. Like I can afford $30 this month. So I started the ad and then went to bed. The next morning I woke up and I had 800 new likes. And I was like, holy stars. Like I'm not prepared for people to see me yet.
Right.
I wasn't emotionally done, but now I'm just like, oh, I wish I could redo that.
Well, and a lot of times
I was freaking out.
I kind of, and we've got Virginia, Ontario, Australia. Okay, so sorry, I get kind of distracted.
I know, right? So many fun comments.
So I do think so with me when I because I started with a blog a long time ago, and then kind of took time off to do like, actual like, I worked for a creativity ministry. We actually had a shop and we created products for it. And I started doing handmade product design and then I was doing some tutorials for magazines and things. So kind of like patching together some stuff. But so when I started my blog again, it was kind of like starting from nothing. And it was really like a slow growth. And so I was kind of kept telling myself, okay, it's okay. You want slow growth because then you can kind of learn as you go. And so it actually did work out really well. So I didn't have like a huge overnight success with that second blog, or the first one.
Yeah, it took me 17 years to become this overnight success.
Right. Yep. So Chelly, you've got actually a few different tenets to your business. You've actually got the, what you started with, which is the craft blog. And then did you start selling SVGs right away?
I opened the blog just to sell. I was crafting and scrapbook weekends with friends and I would make SVGs and then I had like this pile of them and I thought, well, that's what this blog could be about. And then so I sold those for quite a while and then realized so many were, well, then I was trying to manage my graphic design studio with my local clients and getting stuff done with the blog. And one day I posted the same thing twice, like one right after another, because I had scheduled it. And then I was like, oh, this is such a good idea. I have to remember to post that. And then I went and posted it. And I was like, okay, I need something that's going to organize me. And then that's how I developed the planner for creative business owners, selling and finding customers online.
So that kind of started the next part of your business, which is, creating for kind of supporting handmade business owners, right?
Right. Yep. So then I put together blog posts to go with it. And, the marketing to me seemed easy, and they would get the planner and say, okay, now what do I do with it? So then I put together trainings and blog posts and a bunch of other tutorials to help them.
So it sounds like it happened pretty organically. Like it went from you doing your thing to actually finding out about the, kind of how important it was to post, and then moving on to the next thing. So if people are looking to start start a business now, like a craft business, do you suggest that they kind of just start with one thing, or do they have to do all the things?
I always tell people, when you pick your name and you're in love with your name and this is where you want it to go out and secure like a website domain and, myhandmadewhatever.com. And then you can pay for that. I don't think it's very much, probably less than $25 a year, depending on where you buy it from. Then I would go get your social medias, secure Instagram and TikTok, Lemonade, Facebook, whatever, and if you don't do anything or post anything on them, maybe it's just a logo, maybe it's not even published, but then down the road as you grow, and then you wake up one day and you're like, holy cow, I've got like this huge following now. And you decide, okay, I'm going to expand from Instagram to Facebook or whatever it might be, then you have that account already. Because right now I do that, speaking from experience, and my Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest all are slightly different.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah. Well, it is. But I don't think it's it's probably not.
I don't think you really see it because we just click now, but.
Right. But it's still, like you said, it's just kind of like you want everything to match.
Right.
And you want to make it easy, because communication is the name of the game. If people can't clearly find you, or, like you said, then that's, yeah. So, and we've got we've got Gina from Texas, Barb from Connecticut, Diane from California. You guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you have your coffee. Chelly, do you have coffee?
I do have coffee.
So you're a coffee drinker, not a tea drinker, because we get both.
Oh, that's fun. I am both too, but in the morning it has to be coffee first.
Yep. Caffeine. Yeah, I'm always like, so we do these at 9, and so Central Time, and then it's 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And honestly, I'm still a little bit like, I get up early for and then I'm still kind of I'm on my second cup and I needed it. We'll just say that.
I always have a little one now, and then I have to keep filling it because I like it hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know when.
Yeah. Well, and plus it's good to get up off your desk. Okay, so tell me what your kind of typical day is like as a small business owner who works from home. Oh, Jill and Annika are here. Annika are here too.
Oh yeah, Annika, that's my daughter. Hang on.
Aw, from Fargo.
Yeah.
Okay, so again.
Sorry, I was gonna say, Linda said, is that a cake behind you? It is. It is my We Are Memory Keepers.
Oh, look at that. Okay, I was just really impressed.
Isn't that adorable?
It is.
And you can do it one-handed, so when you're making crafts and stuff like that, and you need like a quick little something, you just turn it, and then you can grab whatever's in there. And it holds quite a bit.
I kind of want one.
I know. You can find it in my Amazon store. I just reviewed it.
Ooh, well, there we go. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So what? No,
actually, I'm really glad that you actually showed that, because that's really cool.
Isn't that fun? It was one of my highest reels when reels started coming out, because I just opened and closed it, and then they quit making them for a while. So that's I think they are back.
Well, there's a big awe factor there if you're a crafter. Like, ooh, supplies. Okay, so do you remember what I asked you? Because I don't remember what I asked you.
My typical day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
I am a morning person, so I'm always up early and I love my job. So I usually sit at my kitchen table now and answer customer service emails. So if you have questions and can't log in and whatever, can't find something. So I usually do that for a little bit in the morning, kind of go through comments and stuff like that on social media, and then organize my list. And that's where I'll grab my planner and dive into what I have to do today, what I want to do today, what I should do today.
Okay, so breaking it up like that does make it more manageable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I usually I usually try to organize it. So, like on Thursdays, I will go check in on Pinterest. And on Mondays, I'll check in on my Etsy shop.
Okay.
I have somebody helping me with some of this stuff too, but I still love to just oversee it. And,
Make sure you're kind of current and.
Yeah, when you first start out, you're just kind of put stuff out there and getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you grow, you have that space to go back and fine tune things. And, like that's a really great heading that she used, but what if we change out this one word? And yeah, just things like that. And updating, technology, there's always new things you can add and places you can be posting and going. And
so that's really good. I tend to like post something and forget about it. Like, and then I'm like, because I'll ask a question. So I make sure I ask a question that I'm actually interested in the answer in, because then it'll ping in me like during the day. I'm like, so I wonder what people asked or said for this. So then I'll go back and remember to look. But if I just post hey, and then I forget about it. So I actually got your planner just so that I could like help me with that stuff. So
yeah. It helps with the squirrels.
It does. And I think the people with ADD are the people that use planners the most. I don't know about you, but
as creatives, we love to, I love to see it in action. As creatives, we love to write stuff off. We love to check things off. All of that.
Totally. So my husband has since we first got together, he's made fun of me for my lists. And it's because I would always for my, daily list, I would always write at the top, take a shower after I'd taken a shower so that I could check it off. So I'd make sure.
I totally get it. Doesn't seem odd to me.
Yep. Just, I'll write all the things I've already done, check them off, and then put the things I want to do.
Right. Yeah.
It makes you feel good.
My list on there and then cross that off too.
Yep. Oh, I've done that before too. And that, he makes fun of me for that too.
So. And then I feel like the next day I'm even more organized because that list is already there for me.
Okay. Oh, we've got a bunch more people that joined us. Thank you guys. So good to see you guys here. Okay, so I have another question. Okay, so what is your favorite thing about having a business at home or having your own business? Is it that you don't have to wear pants? Because I think we hear about that one a lot.
I know, I was picking out what I was going to wear this morning. I'm like, I only have to be cute from the belly up.
Yep.
So I may or may not have ugly shorts on right now. What is my favorite part? Sometimes when I hear friends talk about the bureaucratness of their job or the cattiness of the office, which I'm like, yeah, well, my coworkers are awesome because we have a cat, and that's although sometimes he is kind of a jerk, but he's a cat. He's supposed to be.
Right. We expect that.
Being able to get up and do what I want and just use your intuition, and this is what I need to work on today. This is what the crafters need from me. This is what handmade business people need from me, and just be able to lean in to your own gift.
Yep. Okay, so you are kind of the crafting business person to talk to. So if you guys have any questions so go ahead and throw them in the chat for about starting your own business, or about the business you may already have, or just any other questions you have about a crafty business. We got Chelly here, so we can kind of put her on the spot.
Oh, love it. Love it. See if you can stump me.
Yep. Okay. But I do have I did ask on Facebook, so I do have a couple questions. Now, Chelly, we didn't even mention yet, but you are currently hosting, so it starts on Sunday, the Craft Business Summit. So I am too. I actually was taking a look at the list of sessions that you have, and you have such a good mix of beginner and intermediate and advanced ones. So it's no matter where you are in the journey, even if you don't even have a business yet, but are just thinking about starting a business at some point, you've got some really, really great sessions here that are going to be a great resource as you go along your journey, I think.
Yes. I love to put it together that way so we get everybody, and I think even those that are in the advanced or, intermediate, you still go through that beginner list and you'll find some hidden gems. So again, you can kind of go back and fine tune those things like we were just talking about.
So if
Really
you,
good for everybody.
so let's ask the chat, or everybody here. I would like to know that, because if you were to start a business or you have a business, would you make it a digital business or would you have a physical product? Because that's kind of like the two different ways that people go, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it really depends on where you're at. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's, what is your talent? Make it easy for you to produce, and kind of where you're at in life, whether you're doing Etsy or craft shows or, selling on social media, your own website, whatever it may be, like where can you connect the easiest to those customers that you have?
Well, and I think there's certain skills that you'll kind of need no matter if you do physical or digital, because you, like photography, like you have to, like social media, those are just things that no matter how you sell, and even people that are selling physical items are selling it online. So those photographs are a big thing.
Yes.
So it looks like, Susan said, ironically, Chelly, one of my cats was just standing on her back legs, pawing at your face on the screen.
Aw, it's so cute.
Let's see.
Yeah, they do love to stand on keyboards, don't they?
Okay, so actually a lot of people here several people have already gotten their ticket. Let's see. A couple of votes for physical, a couple of votes for digital. And somebody just said that she needs some ideas for staying on top of her business as she works full time. So if somebody's trying to do like a side hustle, and I think this is what Georgia's saying. So if you're working full time and you want to start kind of a side hustle with your creativity, do you have like any suggestion? I mean, again, is it kind of just like what you're most passionate about because that's how you want to spend your time? Or what do you think?
Yes. And kind of, I need ideas staying on top of my business. So I'm guessing like in Georgiana, I need my stronger glasses. So sorry if I pronounce that wrong, but so it sounds like you already have your product, your digital or physical product. So how do you stay on top of your business without feeling overwhelmed? We actually have a session about overwhelm at the Craft Business Summit that we were just talking about, starts Sunday. But what I normally recommend is sitting down and looking at the 30,000 foot view of your business. Where are you at? Do you feel like you have customers coming in and you just need to manage your time, where I'm going to say, okay, Thursdays, I'm going to, maybe you have kids, maybe I'm going to see if they can do a camp this summer, or, hang out with a friend, or, and then you take her kids on Tuesdays, or, something like that. So maybe you just need space to sit down and make those products. Or if the orders aren't coming as fast as you want, maybe you need to sit down and come up with a plan to grow your online presence so that people can find you. So do you need to work on your SEO over on Etsy, or if you have your own shop or your own website, how are you going to get more people over there? And usually that means in that digital space that we have to create content that's going to appeal to our customers to get them to where we want to go. And that's one thing that the planner does for us too. There's 19 pages in there that are worksheet pages that help us plan our business and helps us see, okay, I want to sell 40 products a month, or 300 products a month, or whatever, or 10 products a month, whatever it might be. Like, what do I have to do every day to get to that goal? And then every week, every month, you can use the prompts and stuff in the planner to help you decide, is it because you have to show up online, or because your product is very popular and it's almost, selling itself? And then you just need to sit down and be able to more efficiently create products. Maybe you bring in a teenager to help you, or another mom that you can pay on the side and have them create those products. So it really depends on where your business is at. But I find doing things in bulk is a little bit easier. So, like I said, Thursdays I check in on Pinterest. Mondays I'll check in on my Etsy. But if I tried to do everything every day, and check in all the places, it's just overwhelming and you can't keep up. And I figured that out the hard way.
Yeah. So I actually was somebody who, because as a crafter and just, I always thought I was just one and done. Like I just wanted to make one thing because it was like fun and I learned how to do it and then I was done. But really, as I started to kind of sell more to like consignment and things like that, I realized how much more time and even just, buying supplies for one thing and then they just sit there. So making the best use of my time and my, stash basically, or the money I was putting into something meant doing multiples. And I actually kind of started to find kind of a joy in that. And so just to feel like I had, this, 20 of something that I could do, that I could just I tried to challenge myself to get better and better at it. And then being able to take those into the shop was like really fun. And satisfying in a different way than just trying to figure something out every time.
Yeah. And then once you kind of get in that zone, it seems like you're more efficient. So when I'm thinking, just the making part, like you talked about, but when I'm over at my Etsy shop and I'm like, okay, I should go through and revive these and update a couple things. And when you're in the zone, it's just easier to do more things. It's like when you're trying to vacuum and load the dishwasher at the same time, it just doesn't work. So you have to do the similar things at the same time.
Okay, so that's a really good question. So that was kind of an answer to one of the questions we'd had with online, which was kind of how do you kind of decide what energy to put where. So that was actually a good answer for that. So we do have a couple other questions here. So somebody asked, they're saying they like making physical products, but because of medical issues, that was Susan, she'd like to actually learn how to make more of a passive income from digital product. Now that is actually where Amy Romeo was a few years ago. She didn't necessarily have medical issues, but she was getting, tired. She's starting to hurt, standing on her feet all the time. She's starting to feel like some fatigue and like, doing, for the physical thing. And so she decided to transition to the passive income and the digital thing, which, then you start having, it's a whole nother, it's almost like kind of, you're learning more things. So not that you don't take what you've already learned, like social media or photography or time management into this new thing, but there is a whole new set of things to learn. But I feel like every time you learn something, you're putting it in a toolkit. And then, you're actually kind of tucking that away for later. So,
Sorry. So I think too, there's so many different avenues that could go. When you think of digital, I mean, there's invitations and there's printables and like you can make signs depending on what kind of creative or artist you are. You could make prints that people could print off of Etsy and hang in their house or, give as gifts. So there's there's so many. And there's 3 trainings, I think, based around strictly digital ideas at the summit.
Okay, so somebody asked about how do you start on Pinterest? And let's see, how do you start affiliates? So actually, rather than trying to talk about all those, sorry guys, that's there's a little bit,
we'll be here
a bit more than we have time. Yeah, those I recognize there are actually sessions at the Craft Business Summit on both of those. Actually,
there are
taught by some amazing experts.
Yes, the Pinterest one, there's a free session if you're a VIP member, so you can pay to keep the sessions if you're not going to be around or can't watch them Sunday, Monday, Tuesday this coming week. You can upgrade to a VIP ticket, and that includes Pinterest for your Etsy shop, and then there's another Pinterest training in there as well.
So actually, usually people buy the VIP pass because I've learned because they want the time flexibility. They don't think they'll be able to watch it just in that time period. And they also want to go back, which I think with your summit in particular, because you have the beginning, intermediate, and advanced, that, these trainings are going to last for a really long time. So being able to go back to them when you're at the next stage in your business is going to be really good. But I did notice that your toolkit, which is your VIP pass, is amazing. Seriously,
I'm shocked at how amazing it was. The speakers really went all in. I mean, there's $200 courses in there. There's free membership trials in there. I mean, I think a couple of them have like 1, 2, 3 month trials that you can jump in. So if you need some extra coaching, you want to make this, your side gig, or you want to make this from your side gig to your full-time job, there's tools in there. I mean, some of the courses, and one of the workshops was selling SVGs and how she made
$1,500. I'm like, that totally got me. I'm like, ooh, $1,500 from one SVG. That's like crazy cool. It's from one SVG. That's like crazy cool. So yeah, tell me how to do that. I want to know.
I need to watch it.
Yeah.
So the trainings are great. Well, just not even having the pressure. To me, I don't hear things when I have that pressure. Some people can take them in. Some people are like, I really only want to watch a couple, and I have time off, so I can watch them all. But
yeah, that totally works. Like, you can definitely do it free. And that's what I like about the summit model, is that you don't have to invest, in the upper, if you're feeling like that's not something you can do right now, and if you have the time. So it's like open to everyone. But I love that there's that option for the VIP, because, again, not everybody has the time, or they might want to keep the resource for later, or they really just love the video model, or they're, I'm glad that there's that option. I think it's a really good model. But
yeah, and I stopped doing ads because, at that one ad I had that did so well, but then they got really complicated, so I quit doing them. And there's the Facebook ads training in there that I went and watched, and I probably watched it, no lie, 47 times, because I was like, where did he go? And I kept rewinding it and going back, and
so yeah, it's nice to have that,
When the summit is something that I'm interested in, there's usually, something. Like, one person said the first thing I downloaded was worth the price of the VIP. So it definitely has some great hidden gems in there.
So I should have written them down. I didn't do it, but there really was like just a ton of things that I thought for a beginner, especially, that would really appeal. Okay, so Sherry asks, where do you get the planner, and does it have the steps on how to get a domain name, website, etc.?
So the planner is over on our website. If you haven't gotten your ticket, are we good?
Siri.
Oh, did she kick in?
Yes, that was Siri. I don't know if you guys heard that, but Siri was trying to answer the question. So evidently you can look it up.
That's funny. I wonder if they'd find it. Okay, sorry, Sherry. So the planner, if you are in the group, there's a link to it in there. I can come back. It's on my website at WeCanMakeThat, but it's also, if you go through the steps to grab the VIP, it's one of the options that you can add to your order. And then with the planner, you get, I think it's 6 modules. So there's a whole bunch of training to walk you through each section. You can watch it, as you need it. You can binge it while the planner's shipping, whatever it might be. But it doesn't talk about exactly how to do the domain, but that would be a question that you could probably ask in the group, and somebody could help you walk through that. But it's really just, there's so many websites. I usually, Namecheap is one, and even just doing a Google search, like search your name. Yeah, GoDaddy. Search your name and see if the name that you want comes up, and then that kind of is a really quick way to just be like, okay, well, it's already taken, so, and then go on to the to the next steps.
Yeah, so I actually wanted Well-Crafted Life at first, and there was that was already taken up. So when I kept kind of thinking about it, I'm like, well, I really want Well-Crafted. And so that's when I kind of okay, well, Well-Crafted what? Well-Crafted this, Well-Crafted this. So then I came up with the Well-Crafted Studio, which actually I love, because it does kind of encompass a whole bunch of different things. And so that was pretty cool.
And Studio leans into that artist talent.
So sometimes it just kind of works out even when it doesn't work out. So
yeah, right.
Okay, so we're actually, I didn't do this in the description of the website or the video, but what I will do is make sure that I add your and I should have done this, I didn't think about it, your contact info, so that people can for sure come and find you. But right off the bat, like probably the easiest way is to just go to your website, which is WeCanMakeThat.me, right?
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
the group that we were, oh, sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I was going to say, Sherry, the group that we're talking about is the Craft Business Summit. We have our own private Facebook group for those free and VIP registers. And there's a lot of other resources in there. There's a lot of speakers and sponsors in there that can help you make some progress with some of those questions a little bit more detailed than we can on this YouTube live.
And I do have a link to the summit. It's actually my affiliate link, but it's in the description. And that will take you to get the free ticket. And then you'll also have the option to upgrade then too.
Yes. And you can see all the sessions on that link. So if you're like,
yes.
I don't know if I want a free ticket, if you click it, scroll down. There's a button actually on the top that says jump to agenda. And then, yeah, you can see all the speakers. You can see her beautiful face and her session.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really excited about my session. So I think we should move into the squirrel and tell part of this, which is the part where Jen goes out. So we already kind of showed something, but this is the part where Jen kind of rushes off screen and grabs something to show people that she worked on. So it works out really well today because my workshop for your summit is how to craft a brand with Procreate and Canva. Now, Canva, have you noticed how much people are talking about Canva right now? It's a lot.
It's really come out, yeah.
So Canva, you do have a Canva 101 in the summit.
Yeah. Never used it. Don't worry, we got you covered.
Yep. And then so I've been using it for a while, just kind of, but it's another one of those programs where you can kind of keep just going with it, and they keep adding to it. And so recently they added the Brand Hub, which is basically a really easy way to create a brand kit. So in my workshop, I show you guys how to go ahead and create a logo in Procreate, and then go ahead and bring it into Canva and extract the colors, the fonts, so that you can create, and I walk through how to create a brand kit with it. But I kind of, awesome. Yeah, I was excited about it. I was just like, ooh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and this is going to be so cool. And it's so funny how you get so excited about your own topic. So I have to kind of pull it in. But I just wanted to show you guys. What?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, usually we create this stuff, and then by the time we get it published and posted and shared, it's a few weeks later. And
yes.
Yeah, when we first do it, we're just always so excited.
Yep. So I have to say, okay, so this is the scroll and tell part. So for everybody who's been watching this, they've been, showing up here. You guys know that my son's a high school senior, and he graduated from high school, and we had a grad party. So I've been kind of out of it because we had a grad party last week, and then we had his college orientation right after, the week after. But I wanted to show, because I actually made some of the decorations in Canva, and I made the signage in Canva, and the invitations in Canva. But I think it's, okay, so I think this is kind of funny because he's got a sense of humor, and he didn't want just the typical graduation decorations. So I found these frames on Amazon, and I guess I don't have the little base of it, but they're just acrylic frames. And then he went in and he pulled in a bunch of, so it's not your typical senior pictures.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he did it really badly, on purpose. So there's, I don't know. And then I like this one.
Those are great.
I know. So they were really funny, but he did it in Canva. They have a background remove option. So actually I had just uploaded his senior pictures and some pictures of him as a kid, and he just started throwing them in. And yeah, it was really funny. So then I went ahead and used my Cricut and made little mini ones for stickers. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oops, no. And so those were a hit. And then I took his face. There we go. I took his face and I turned it into a tattoo. And I wrote, "Don't worry, I've got this," because that's his thing when he never had it. But I have to tell you, those Jasper face tattoos, they were gone. I walked around too, and people, it's not they were taking them and putting them in their pocket. They took them and they were wearing them. One guy had one on his pec. My dad had him like going up his arm. I mean, it was just like my cousin's kid or my nephew had one on a couple of them on his face, and I'm like, okay, this went over way better than I thought it was going to. Yeah.
It's always fun. It's hard to sometimes find things that stand out at graduations because we're all looking at the same Pinterest board, maybe. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You totally rocked that, Mom.
Well, and then the one other thing I did that I was super proud of was so I was trying to look, so this is what we do as crafters, right? So I wanted to use my Glowforge as an excuse to use my Glowforge. So, hey, Martha's here too. So I like got this design off Etsy, and then I went ahead and cut. And then this was his like a Spotify playlist that he did where it was like Jasper through the years and just kind of all the music from the time when he was little where he'd listen to like, you know, like the little kid music. Yeah, like all the way up until like what he listens to now. And then, yeah, it was fun. And then this one was he did a truth or Jasper fact or fiction. And so he did like a story, like it was a Google document, but then it was, you know, he'd give something and then you'd have to think if it was true or false. So some of this stuff was so stupid.
Yeah, creative. What is he going into? Do you know yet?
He is going actually into physics. But
he's funny and a brainiac. That's a rare find.
Yeah, I'm not really sure like how a software engineer and an artist became, you know, created a physicist, but you know, we'll go with it, right? So, yeah, but yeah, so it's kind of funny because the fact or fiction thing, a couple of them were like so bizarre. Like he had one where I hit my friend with a stick till he bled. Well, that sounds horrible. Like it's not like, and I'm like, you can't just make that like in a list. It's like you sound like a psychopath. And he's like explaining it to me how this friend like had a stick and he wanted him to like, you know, hit the stick out of his hand, and he kept trying and the guy kept telling him to do it, and then he accidentally hit his hand and then there's like a scratch. And I'm like, okay, so I will let you do this if you have explanations. Like we need context here because seriously, otherwise you sound like a psychopath. Yeah. So yeah. So I did so much stuff in Canva for that party. Here, I can see my little sign too.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So I like even had stuff printed through Canva, and yeah. So I mean, it's like I'm constantly amazed. Yeah, like I just got sent to Staples, and then I went and picked it up. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I feel like Canva, there's like a lot that you can do with it. So yeah. Anyways, so again, my workshop is Procreate and Canva, and I think that's going to be really a fun mix for people.
I think so too. And Canva, if you're wondering, it's free. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do with the paid version too, but if you just want to dive in and start playing, it's not going to cost you anything.
Well, and even the pro version, there's a there's a trial, and it's not a ton. Like, it's not super expensive. So, especially if you have an event coming up, or you, I don't know, I use it a lot. So especially I think if you have a small business, because it makes branding your business so easy. It makes creating social media templates so easy. Have you ever played with their smart mockup? That's like incredible.
I haven't, no. I use Adobe for a lot because I just always.
That's your thing.
Adobe, so
yeah.
But I am starting, I would say this year, I really started using it more than I have in the past. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, everything's right there. I can share it with the people on my team. And my daughter, like who was on here earlier, she was doing some social media for a club she's in at the university, and she could send me things, and then I could help her be a good graphic designer. I'm like, you are not using that. Send that to me.
Yes. Yeah, actually, Jasper ended up using it for several classes in college last year. Because he did college and high school. But anyways, so he, just to clarify that one, but he actually did, like, there was a lot of times where he was like doing like videos, and he'd edit the videos in Canva or do some kind of informational poster. It was interesting how much they use Canva.
Yeah, you can do like PowerPoint slide things in there now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy what it does. There's so much in there.
And the AI, like there's AI on there.
Yeah, that's like a whole new.
Yep. So Yeah, so
Jill, grad projects.
I've been talking about it for a while. I have to say though, like I didn't do like the whole poster thing with all his pictures until like the day of, because I was doing all this other stuff and I thought he didn't really care. And then he's like telling me about the pictures he wants on it, and I'm like, ooh, it's okay. I guess we're doing that. So
What the heck? We'll just throw that together. It's fine. I know how to do that.
okay, so let's see. All right.
Comments. I love to see what people are thinking and chatting and like.
Isn't that fun?
Inspire. Or
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the name of the Facebook group? So if she just wants to like search Facebook for the Craft Business Summit Facebook group, is it the Craft Business Summit?
You go through and register. So you have to be registered to get into the group. So even though it's free, if you register, then it will redirect you back to the Facebook group.
And then you'll get an email like you'll as well with the different things and the links and stuff. Yeah,
so then
cool.
There's a little key in there so you can add it to your calendar, and then you can join the Facebook group, and it'll link you to the giveaways and the agenda. So
tell us about the giveaways.
So we have 18, I believe, giveaways,
wow.
and they're all centered around craft business. So some of them are just Amazon gift cards, $50, $200, I think. Was it $200? I have to go back and look. Sorry, don't quote me on that. But yeah, so there's multiple Amazon gift cards. There's memberships. There's software. If you're a wreath maker, there's a really cool, there's actually two really cool wreaths. There's a wreath stand to create wreaths on, how it's laying on the table and then you pick it up and things don't lay how they're supposed to. So This wreath stand will let you work on it standing up, and then it folds and you can put it away. So it's really awesome. So There's a wreath stand. My planner, we're pre-printing the 2024s. So there's a 2024 planner on there. What else is in there? There's some paint, some really cool chalk paint. There's like
I obviously have not looked into this enough because that is a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and they're all small businesses or business orientated. So Heat Transfer Vinyl has a $50 shopping spree. So if you like to do graphic tees and that kind of thing, or wall decor with it, and you can get blanks on there. They've got some sublimation things. You can apply it towards a machine if you wanted to get a heat press, or if you wanted to do the tumbler, they have the tumbler ovens and stuff like that.
Ooh, those are nice.
Yep. You just have to be registered as a free attendee or a VIP, and you can enter all 18 of them. And some of them have daily entries. So you
can do more than once.
Yeah. So then you can keep adding to that tally. Yeah, there are awesome giveaways, Kathy. I'm excited about them. I was like, dang, I wish I could enter.
Yeah, no, totally. That's awesome. I'm trying to remember if I did it or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a really cute letterboard in there too. So like if you want to have some wall decor in your home.
Okay, so speaking of which, I love your background. Like you've got like some really cute like wall decor there.
I like to think so, but I'm a little biased.
So that's a pretty sweet crafting space.
It is. It was my husband and I, so I've been married for about 5 years now, and we bought this house together, got married, and he has 3 kids and I have 2. And it was, so we found this house, it was perfect. And then he's like, well, which 2 kids will we have, bunked together so that you have an office? And I'm like, oh, silly boy, I'm taking over.
Yeah, I know, right?
I probably should have did a bedroom because there's no closet. So then there's no space, but it's so it's nice. I have a sunroom over this way, so it's really bright, and then there's this way there's a open doorway into our living room, and then there's huge windows over there, so it always feels like I'm not in a box.
Yeah, which is nice.
It's open, and it feels like I'm in the middle of family, but in the middle of a pandemic, that's not really a good idea.
Right. Everybody's walking in.
Yeah. And then also, because it was the dining room, I'm like right next to the kitchen. So sometimes I'm just like, I got to get up. And then what do? I walk in there and start snacking. So.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty close.
I always joke I have the willpower of a goldfish. So.
I do too, especially when I see ads on Facebook or Instagram. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, actually, so like you guys can see like the sun is coming in, like the morning sun, and so I'm like I am not this white as I look like I'm in the video right now. But yeah, it's just so nice to have the sun shining, and I like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so.
or I can see the snow for 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, that's not as exciting. I tend not to want to
Mhm.
look at that. But
Especially last year when we had our record, we almost hit our record of like 100 some inches. It was,
yeah, we were kind of watching that because my mother-in-law and father-in-law live in Bismarck, and so they'd keep sending us pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is just not melting, and they just keep like getting more and more and more.
Mhm.
So
And then all of a sudden it was like gone. And
yeah,
we didn't have any flooding. It was, I mean, there was a little bit of touchy spots here or there, but the most part, like, I don't know when the last record was set and it melted, it
yeah,
was
there,
major flooding. Like
yeah,
Grand Forks was pretty much just downtown was destroyed. And I mean, that's a few
yeah,
hours from here, but it was, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, and then all of a sudden it was just gone.
which is
It was
great.
like, yeah,
Yeah, because you're like, give me some
it's
summer.
like, I know. And now it's too hot. Like we've already had 100-degree days. I don't know how many. And
Yep.
like, yeah, but today's not bad. Like you said, it's in the 60s, but it's very humid.
Yeah, it is kind of nice to have the fluctuation so that you can, I don't know.
Yeah, you can
But
enjoy the seasons.
okay, so we got a couple other questions. So I think we have like another 10 minutes or so. So if you guys have more questions, we can go ahead and talk about those. So Martha actually asked, what is the best way to photograph items? She's been putting some blackboard behind some of them. Their things she takes the glass out of the frames to avoid reflections. So I actually have a couple tips on that from the engraving, but I'll let you, if you have some tips on that first.
Yes, actually, not to beat a dead horse here, but there's 2 photography sessions at the craft
No,
business
it's good to know because those are experts. So it's, if you can get some
right.
expert opinions for free, that's awesome.
Yeah, but this is my little trick is I take 2 poster boards and then I just taped them. And now I have, let's see if I can do this on the camera. So now I have this little photo booth. So when I put my object in there, and then I'll put one underneath it, and then, yeah. So that's how it. So sometimes the light
That
is really
easy.
from one angle, and then the other side is shadowed. So this is my $2. Go to the dollar store, buy 2, and then I go to Hobby Lobby, and they have all those really cute poster boards. And then I'll do those for the base. So one of them looks like brick, one of them looks like barnwood, that kind of thing. And then before I was able to get some lights like I have set up now, I would do just lamps. I would take the lampshades off, or sometimes just get a white lampshade to use, and then like a linen cloth if you don't have a light bulb that's warm. So make sure you don't set your house on fire. But
yeah.
just take your whiteboards, your $3 worth of poster boards, and take them outside. And again, bulk, do 4, 5, 6 photo shoots, or a dozen of them at a time.
Yep. Yeah. Especially if the light's good, because there's like days when it's not good, no matter what you try, like no matter what lights, no matter everything. Right. So if you find a great day or a good time of day to take photos, making sure that that's your time to do photos is really, yeah. So when I do the engraving things, so I'm actually taking pictures of things that are both kind of sloped and are shiny. And so what I found the best thing to do is just to keep moving around it and trying to get different angles, because you could just move the camera just a tiny little bit and you won't have an angle. Whereas if you move it a different way, then it'll be like super shiny. You won't be able to see it at all. So taking lots of photos and then looking at them and then making adjustments, I think helps. Yeah. But there's like one time where I was under the gun on a summit. And so I was trying to take something. So I had things kind of tilted a little, like I had something underneath it to tilt it. And then I had the, similar setup to what you have. But then I was also trying to cover, like I had a light right on top of me that was coming down, but I needed so then I was holding another piece of foam core on top of it. So I was like trying to maneuver like, like this. And like if anyone had walked
My
in.
own shadow on it. And
Yeah, and like back far enough away so that you can actually see the camera on the reception or the reflection. So yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. If anyone had walked in, they would have been like, "What the heck?" Because it was
that's
like
funny.
it was like playing Twister.
And sometimes when I do this too, like with that glare, let's see if we can get that. We have the center, and then I'll put another one on top. Yep. Or I went and got just a piece of linen material. Like maybe it's more like sheer. I don't know, like you would use for a shawl or something. And it's just a little piece about the same size as the poster boards. And I lay that over the top because it lets the light in, but it doesn't add that glare.
Kind of is filtered and yeah.
I mean, you could go buy.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. They have like those light reflectors. And to me, they look like those things you used to like fold up and stick in your, or unfold them and stick them in your windows to keep the heat out. So, something like a light, I'm not a photographer, but I know they have a technical name.
Well, yeah, I think maybe a diffuser, deflector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deflector?
Reflector, deflector. Yeah, obviously we're pros, guys.
Yeah. Just use what we have. We're creative, right?
Yep. Okay, so we do have a few questions here. One of them is for me. Candace asked that she saw my recent SVG design, some in our workshop. And it says, what material did you use to create the doodle flowers, and did you cut it with a Cricut? I did. I actually, I have one here. It's just cardstock. Oops. So,
that's cute.
So I cut it with my Cricut. Here we have another one. It's got kind of like bent. But I mean, you can do this isn't even that I've done much more intricate things with a Cricut before. And so, yeah, I drew it in Procreate, and then I actually, just to make it easier for people, I have a freebie, and you can still get it over my blog for the SVG Summit, and it's actually stamps of some of these designs so that you don't actually have to draw them if you don't want to. Although some people were stamping them and then going over them themselves, kind of tracing, so that's kind of cool too.
That is great.
I think I answered that. And what I was trying to do with these is I was actually trying to they call it line art, but I was kind of trying to channel my wire flowers that I used to do with just trying to keep it all one line. Because when you're doing wire, you're just basic, you can't cut it very easily. So, yeah.
Those are too.
Yeah. And then I think I showed this too, but this is actually the same kind of flower, but I actually cut it out of acrylic with my Glowforge. So.
Cute.
Yeah, I have to say,
it would be adorable. Now I want to make one.
Honestly, the acrylic stuff is kind of like my new favorite medium, and it's really only something you can do with a laser cutter. But it's like kind of fun because every time you like cut it out, it's like such a precise cut that I can cut it out of 2 different colors and then insert like the pieces that are like the negative pieces into the other pieces, and it looks really cool. Yeah.
Something. Love it.
But I don't have, I don't have time though, so that's why I needed an excuse like the grad party.
To make a whole bunch of things, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, those flowers are cute.
Let's see.
Yes. Procreate just takes time. It used to be like a couple things and you could run with it, but now there's so much you can do in there, just like any software.
It's so true. Okay, so I'm noticing that we have a couple questions yet here. Let's see. So Jill actually asked a really good question on Facebook, and she says, how do you deal with the customers from the HE double toothpicks? And then she had another question that was similar, was just like, when you have difficult customers, let's see. So this is her question on Facebook. She said, I love doing custom projects for friends and family, but worry about expanding to the general public. I'm concerned about having to deal with difficult people and possibly getting scammed. How hard is it to deal with customers? So I think that is actually a stumbling block for a lot of people, is they just either your feelings are easily hurt, or you don't know how to deal with it, or you just don't want to deal with it. So do you have anything that you can say about that?
I want to say that they're just out there. the best thing to do is not take it personal. So when I get negative comments, and when you run an event like this, you get some doozies.
Mm-hmm.
I always first ask, is this valid? Like, is what they're complaining about, is what they're bashing, is it true? And if it's not true, then just, I guess address it, but don't take it personal. And 99% of the time when anybody says anything to you, it is about them. So if they compliment your hair, chances are they have straight hair and they want curly hair. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's 99%. If they're mad about how you're acting or mad about what you said, it's usually almost 100% of the time about them. And it's just how our brains work. So when you know that, and when you put yourself out in the online space, you're going to get those
Yeah.
types of customers. And you just have to remember to screenshot the good ones, address it, and move on. And sometimes when you have those negative people, you control your space. So just delete and ban. I mean, I don't have room. I don't have space. It's exhausting some days, and it's funny how those negative comments stay with us way more than any of the positive things. Like, as I'm saying this, I can think of 4 or 5, but I can't think of 4 or 5 positive things. But I do know, I mean, that there's people out there loving what you do. So focusing on them, just accepting that they're going to come out no matter how good you are, has nothing to do with you. And then sometimes they are valid and they make us better.
Yeah.
So, and the more you put out in that positive light, I believe, what you put out is what you attract. So the more you put out in the positive, and if you write every post and write every product listing being afraid of them, that's going to probably come out in that energy. So I I always say, every time you're out there, talk to that perfect client. Talk to that one who is not from HE double hockey stick, You can probably think of one. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a stranger that you've never met. But if you are out there and you're posting your posts, like your social media posts, and you're writing on your blog, and you're listing in your Etsy store, and you're just thinking of that one perfect client, you're going to start attracting more of them.
Okay, so now here's the other, so you have a family member or a friend or a neighbor that loves your stuff and is constantly going on about it, and they'd like you to make them stuff, but they want it for basically next to nothing. So how do you deal with that? Because even whether you don't have a small business, you end up running into those people. Oh, you do it so much better, and they're so complimentary, and then
Just make me one.
yeah, yep, exactly.
And it was like, oh, I always say, and I was that way too for so long. I was in an environment where the creative skill was so poo-pooed on that it felt like it was worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put out that mindset, like, you do have product expenses, your skill is worth something, and you get to choose. If my best friend says, oh, I saw that sign you just posted on the blog, I love it, will you make me one? I will make her one, and probably like a little side one to match, and just give it to her. But if it's a coworker or someone like that, or somebody that you know of but don't really know, comes to you and asks, just say, oh, I would love to. So I normally list them for $29, but since I know you, I'll do it for 24. Or you don't have to give them a discount either. It's okay to just say, you know what, I'd love to. They're $29. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll send you a link to check out.
And it's okay to say no too. So if you have somebody and they're really nice, but at the same time, that they have like kind of a personality that's going to say, they're not pleasant to deal with,
right.
Then yeah, it's
previous conversation.
Right. You can say no, right?
And no is a complete sentence. You can be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have space for that. Oh, I'm not doing them anymore. And when I went through that transition where I was making things for everybody and selling products, and now it's more of the digital space and, just the blog influencer type role that I have, I found people who were really leaning into that. So I have 2 or 3 people who make t-shirts and signs and tumblers. So when people say, hey, can you cut me out some vinyl, or can you make these, It's like, if I do have time to do that extra stuff, I want to do something fun for me. And I don't
Right.
want to be in here feeling like I'm working 24/7. So, I mean, give them another alternative. If you can't do it for them, just be like, oh, I'm not doing those anymore, but here's a link. So and so does it.
Or you know what? You can totally do this yourself. Here's like the tutorial I watched. And,
Yeah,
you know,
that's another good one. Mm-hmm.
because um let's see, did I get
Let's stop
so
working for free. That's the moral here.
yeah, let's see. Let's see. Looks
Did say
like
Lisa's comment about her dad or father-in-law?
so
No, her
Canyon
father.
Mom Shelley said that your stuff was the first tutorials that she first found when she bought her Cricut. Thank you for all your help. See, I love that.
Oh, fun.
Will the summit show you how to get a good clientele? Is there something like that?
Yes, there is. I'm thinking of 2 sessions off the top of my head. So yeah, there are some, and really, it's about how you put yourself out into the space. So your Etsy shop, your social media, um, how you do your wording. So yeah, there's definitely some great advice on that. And Leah's session is really good. I can't remember the topic offhand, but it's something about using marketing to attract, and I can't remember her exact words, but I don't know why I don't have them all memorized by now, all 33 of them. I should.
You know, I it's so funny because when Amy and I did our summit, she was writing this stuff and I was doing the images, and I'm very visual. So when I was actually like doing all these images, like I really did, like, you know, after enough times know what each session was, exactly who they were. And Amy's just like, you know what, you know, she didn't have that constant like. So she's like, Jen, which one is this? You know, but by the end of, you know, by the time we were done, she had them all down pat too. But yeah, it's there's a lot. Like I don't like
Yeah.
honestly like so I think that actually, so one thing I wanted to mention in this, and I don't have it up, but you have a printable of all the sessions that actually you split it up into did you print that out, or do you yourself, or do you
I
just have
didn't
it
print it
digitally?
out. But I did just post it on my page too. Um, oh no, I posted it in the group. So yeah, it's one of the perks when you're registered for free. It has a list of all the sessions that are for beginners, and then what day they're going to be shown on. So you
Yep.
can make sure that you check them off. And then if you want to, I always love to know where I'm going. So I think of my business as a road trip, just kind of like we called it the roadmap, thanks to our conversation yesterday. So I want to know where I'm going. So this is what I'm focusing on today. But if I can do today's work in a fashion that will help me tomorrow, I love that idea too. So I'd love to see, like, here's what I'm focusing on today, but this is my next step. So I love to see where I'm going. But I'm a planner. And that might be why I develop
Uh-huh.
planners.
So
So,
you also like color coded according to this is like social
yes.
marketing
Yep.
monetization. Is that right?
Yep. So anything that would have to do with marketing and putting your products or service or digital products out there, and then skills. So there's 2 photography sessions, bookkeeping. Like those are
I
skills
know
that we
that's
need.
like you do need that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to call these all the non-creative side of our business. We know how to make the product, we know how to cut the acrylic, or we can learn how to design the printables for Etsy. Like we know that creative part is easy for us usually to come by as a craft business owner, but those non-creative things. So yeah, we have them broken out to skills, marketing, and then revenue streams. So those are things that whatever you're doing, maybe there's 2 or 3 topics in the revenue streams where you can just do a couple different things different, or spend a little bit of time here or there and end up with another way that's bringing you some passive income into
Okay.
your
So
business. So,
so one last thing I think I kind of want to mention for sure. Um, and actually, so I'm just going to quick mention talk to. So Brenda asked where I got my supplies for my laser cutter, and I get them off of Houston Acrylics. Um, okay.
I hear there's a
So
place. I don't have one, but I
yeah.
hear that's a place.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to kind of maybe wrap up here is kind of just talk to you for a minute about If you are a crafter and you're thinking about starting a business, I think the biggest mind shift is seeing like getting over the monetary aspect of it. So yes, it's a business. Yes, you're doing it. I think people feel bad that they're doing it for money. So like, you can, because there's always the part that, like, for my business, I teach because I love to encourage and I love to communicate and I love to enable people to be creative. So that's a huge like motivation for me. But I have to say that the money is what keeps it going. That's what allows me to do it. There's some back end costs. There's supply costs. So without that bringing in that money, I wouldn't be able to do the thing that I love and encourage people and teach. So it's like, if I think a lot of us feel like it's kind of crass, or it's something like, or they can't claim, like they have imposter syndrome where they think what I do can't possibly be good enough to ask for money for it. Or, I think that's I think that money is a huge stumbling block for people. What do you think?
I think that was my own roadblock I had to overcome. Like, it was, you can just make me one. Like, they put that just in there,
Yeah.
You can just make me one. Like, it's still, they can't just make themselves one.
Right.
I don't think, Taylor Swift worries about feeling guilty about charging for her talent of singing, or, something on that line. So those things that we can do that come natural to us, it is of value. And when you wrap your head around that and you look at other people doing it, look at some of the sellers on Etsy that are making millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars off of products that they create. So there is a market for it and there's a need for it. And if you have that talent, why would you not? If you're thinking, I don't really want to go to work at this job every day for the rest of my life, what if you could take over your dining room and make a creative business? It's the best decision I made.
Yeah. So if you have a dream and
mindset.
Yeah, if you have a dream, or you want to do, if you want to turn your creativity into a business, and the money part of it is the part that's really tripping you up, then that really is, like you said, a mindset shift. Like, really just valuing yourself, your time. You have the tools. You have you're the person that got it done. So you're working hard. So the whole stay-at-home gig is not like, it's not like it's no work and all gain.
Right. And if you don't do it, somebody else is gonna. So don't, that's my theory. If you don't, somebody else will, so it might as well be you.
Right. So yeah, exactly. And so Miss Carrie's Creations just said that so most people view crafting as a hobby and not a business, so she tends to like do the same. So do you have anything to...
Right. As a hobby, I think again, it just falls into that mind shift, and it's almost like you have to lean into both. Sorry, I'm trying to find words here.
No, that's just fine.
When you're out there and you're showing the things that you make, and maybe people aren't buying it, but maybe you're inspiring them. Excuse me. So then taking that to that level that, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Need more coffee.
Artists are, I think it's way easier now to take that hobby and turn it into a side hustle or full time, and it has more of the respect that it used to. And I think that really comes from Etsy, really showcasing the makers of the world and the handmade items as something of value. And maybe it doesn't have to be your full-time gig. Maybe it's just enough so that you can afford to then go back and have some fun at Hobby Lobby a couple times a month. It doesn't have to replace your full-time job and that kind of thing if you don't want it to. It can start out just paying for a vacation.
Yeah, so I did want to mention like several years ago, I had a bunch of like one-offs, like just a few things left. And so I decided to it was a little bit of an experiment, but it was kind of a way to make money with a friend too. And we took the things that we had kind of made. I actually had a garage sale, but I called it an artisan sale. So it was in my garage. I put up signs that said artisan sale, that said, and I said handmade, this, and this, what we had. And we had like just a couple of tumblers. We had like another table that was jewelry. We had another table that was handmade signs because that was like the thing then. So it looked like there was, and I actually had another gal that did pottery. So we had, some different things.
Right.
My dad had a couple things. Yeah. So it looked like it was like basically a small craft show, but it was in my garage. The only advertising I did was put out the signs like you would find to like, go for a open house. I had signs like that. Yeah. I did a sheet of, just a thing on WordPress or not WordPress, Microsoft Word. Actually, I think I might even hand drawn it, just like, kind of a little sign, put it up at all the coffee shops, made like small ones and had those extras so people could take it, and then posted on social media. So, I mean, it was like the lowest budget thing you could ever do. And I just wanted to see, would it work?
Yeah.
If I have it in my garage, if I just low budget it, and if I, just kind of did like, completely grassroots, would it work? And I made more in that sale than I had on any other sale I'd done. There wasn't any overhead because, and then I had friends coming because they'd like, oh, I haven't seen your stuff for a long time. I want to see what you're doing. And then they would buy. And I had complete strangers and all my neighbors. Like I actually met my neighbors, which was cool. So, I mean, yeah.
It's a good way to test it out too and see like, I think these are really cute. Will they be perceived? And it really depends on, sometimes you go to a craft show or a craft fair and you put all your stuff out and you just don't sell anything. That doesn't mean that what you made wasn't wanted or somebody wants it. It just means that traffic was probably smaller than, or it just didn't have the people in your bucket that you needed to connect with.
Yep.
So it really is a trial and error. And
yep. So yeah, yeah, I think that the thing that kind of for me with this thing in particular was I didn't call it a craft sale. I didn't call it a garage sale. I called it an artisan sale because I feel like at some level people tend to like have different expectations. And so by calling it, right, exactly. So you would pay, so it's like the difference between handmade and homemade. So there's connotations about homemade, which is like, my kid did it, or I used, salt dough for it. And then there's handmade, which has, much higher quality. And that's the difference between crafter and artisan sometimes. So, just kind of being aware, although I think crafter, I think that has actually come into its own now. Like I call myself crafter all the time and people understand that, I'm using like,
right.
It's like handmade. I'm like really physically making things. So
yeah, the DIY world has really been, it's really changed. I don't know if that was, I think it was before the pandemic. I was going to say it was.
I think it was starting with Etsy.
Right. Yeah.
People appreciate the handmade. They like to see things.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually I didn't need a permit for because it fell under garage sale. The same way that people can do garage sales, this fell under that because it was like a one-time sale. It wasn't consistent.
Right,
so
that's good.
Okay, so let's see. It does. I do think it makes, I think you do have to be smart about what you make. So I actually have some articles on my blog, Crafted Studio. And I actually, because I started it, one of the reasons I started it was to kind of put some of the things I learned about my crafty business into tutorials or posts so that I could kind of help people out. So I do have how do you kind of come up with products that people are going to sell? So it kind of talks about looking at trends or different things like that. So if you guys want to check that out, if you go on my blog, there's a craft business section and you guys can check those out. And there's another post about inspiration. So you have to be smart about it. You can't just make what you want. You have to make what you think, and it's not even what other people want necessarily. Sometimes if you're making things that would really be gifts, it's what can I make that someone's going to buy for someone else? So,
yes.
Yeah.
It's a good marketing
yeah.
tactic. I don't want to call it tactic, but yeah, it's a good marketing too. Like, yeah, you love it, but I bet your sister-in-law would too.
Right.
Um,
So I think I think that is kind of, let's see. So there's something about an attorney and CPA. So let's see. That is another thing that you have in the summit, you have a session on bookkeeping.
yes. And I think finding a local one, you just have to ask. And I have a CPA too, and I'm kind of educating her more of the online space. And I think a couple others of her clients are getting into it. So again, those are just skills that not only can we learn, but for them to expand their businesses, they can learn too.
And like your Facebook community is a great resource for people to ask some of these questions and get other people's answers too.
Yeah. Yeah, like an attorney or a CPA, chances are you could find one virtually so that you could just, share content digitally. It doesn't have to be somebody in your town.
Yep. Okay, so Chelly, tell us again how people are going to get to find the Craft Business Summit.
So they can grab your link so that you get the affiliate credit. But and then if you want to connect with me in any way, it's over at WeCanMakeThat.me. So I'm on Facebook, and then I'm on Instagram. If you type in We Can Make That, I do show up, but my handle is I Designed by Chelly with a CH.
Okay. So is there anything else you wanted to, now that we've got you here, is there anything else you wanted to tell us or just kind of close with?
I don't think so. Just thanks. It was so fun chatting. And, there's so much value in finding a network like this where there's other creatives, and you can see in all the comments, all of you ladies who have commented, I believe they were all ladies. There's so many other people like yourself out there, and finding, they say you become the 5 people that you hang out with the most. So find groups that have great energy, great light, and they're in that craft space like you are, whether you're a crafter and you're crafting or whether you're a craft business owner. It's definitely a good place to have it. A good place to be.
I think that's great. You know what? I really enjoyed talking with you. I'm so glad that we did this. I think it worked out really, really well. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to do this with us. I hope that you can come back and do it again sometime.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay. All right, guys. See, I got her on film. She's saying sure. She said yes. So we'll do it again. Okay. So
I'm talking about crafting any day.
Okay. So Linda asked about this week's challenge. Each week in the challenge, we actually, in the Facebook group, we have a challenge that's kind of like, what do you, a question, or it's what are you going to do, or what can you share? So I actually didn't think this through super well, but I think what I was trying to figure, I did think about what I was trying to figure out was I wanted people to kind of share, just comment on trying to share something that I guess something about something that you've made or an experience you've had, selling or giving something to someone, and then kind of why it was positive, just to kind of give us an idea of what is it what makes you feel good about this, just so that we can kind of start a thread kind of sharing that. And then if you have any tips for other people that might want to sell something, I like when we have a thread and we can kind of, put it all together and people can kind of share information. And then of course, photos. It's eye candy, but if you have something that you've made that everybody loves, post that too, so that we can see it. So I will go and actually do it right now I'm going to go and post it's in the Cricut Crafting Facebook group. And then people can go ahead and find it and we can get that started as a resource. So
yeah, that would be fun. And I love someone's comment about giving you a thumbs up or a heart. So
I didn't see that one. I'll have to look through these again.
Good. So yeah, make sure you subscribe so you can see all of her coffee chats. They're so much fun. I love them.
I have a lot of fun with them. I like it a lot. So and I love that, this is one of the few times we can actually have some kind of conversation with both the people in the chat and then each other, which I think is just so fun.
Yeah.
And you never know what people are going to say. So
yeah, it keeps us on our toes.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining me. We'll actually have to get together sometime because we've got to do that.
We need to have coffee in real life. We're going to make that happen.
Okay, we'll do. All right. Thanks a lot, Chelly.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.